KUTX 98.9, the Austin Music Experience. This is KUTX at home. And I'm kind of beside myself and really giddy right now because I'm that nerdy girl and I'm also a rockin' girl. And I would like you to welcome my special guest, Lucinda Williams. Thank you for being here with us, Lucinda, kind of, sort of.
Thanks for having me. No, I love this. It's a connection, you know. I haven't seen very many people in the last couple of months, so.
I was going to say I can relate to you on that. I had not left my place since March 16th, and I stepped out today for the very first time, so I feel you on that.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of ironic because I've got the time now, you know, to do the publicity and everything and all the interviews. So, because we would have been out on the road right now, you know. So in a way, it's helped a lot because we've had the free time to be able to focus, you know, just on video interviews and all that kind of stuff. And it's also keeping me busy. So it gives me a reason to get out of bed, you know, and get dressed and take a shower, put on makeup. Woo! You know.
I love it, and I hear you loud and clear. That is the reason why I get up and I'm like, all right, we're gonna get cleaned up and we're gonna
exactly. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Lucinda, I have to start out by saying congratulations on this badass album, Good Souls, Better Angels. I mean, talk about me just losing it, because it's like, what, were you spying on me, Lucinda? What's this? And it's brilliant. It's awesome. And I wanted to kind of start the conversation out on that. Okay. The reason why I get really excited, first of all, I found out that you recorded the album with your touring band. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, all right, we're getting down with it. You know, it followed the last tour and you're like, we're recording this now. And of course, familiar names popping up. Tom Overby, of course, as well as Ray Kennedy. I remember hearing about Ray, you know, with Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. Yeah. So I was triply excited. But what I loved hearing about the most was recording. Did you record this in Ray's studio?
Yeah. Okay. What happened was, I mean, it was all pretty organic process and, you know, a lot of spontaneity involved. Ray had just been saying, you know, we'd bump into him here and there, and he would say, you know, I'd love you to drop by my new studio that I've got and check it out and maybe cut something and see what happens, kind of thing. That was as far as it went, you know. And of course, he wanted to check out Ray's studio and everything. And so we had a few days off in between runs, and we were in Nashville. And my guys were here, the band was here. Well, Stuart lives in Nashville. And Butch and David are still in LA. But so I kept Butch and David over a few days, and I had a handful of songs. And we went into Ray's studio and, you know, got set up and cut something. And it was like, just, you know, it really was magic. I mean, somehow, we really didn't talk about it that much. I mean, the expertise of Ray at the board, he's got this real sense of, he has an enormous collection of vintage guitars and amplifiers from the 50s and 60s. So right off the bat, he's got that, you know, that ear for that kind of thing. And, you know, he heard the songs and then like you know, just made it sound. It was a combination of what he was doing at the board and then like, I would be playing on a 1950 something guitar going through this vintage amplifier. So that gave it this crunchy sound, which I loved. Yeah. And the whole thing was something I've been wanting to do for a while. Like, so we cut the first song, I think it was You Can't Rule Me was the first one maybe that we cut, and we all just went, you know, holy shit, this sounds great. It sounds fucking amazing. And that was pretty much how we did it, you know, and it was quick too because we didn't bring in a lot of other people to play on it, which I thought I was going to do at first because that's always, I love doing that, harmony singers and this and that, you know. But for some reason, you know, the more we listened to it, we just went, you know, let's just leave it like it is.
You leave
and
it,
it was kind of scary at first, like, really, you know, but it was kind of liberating to do that too, you know, and just have it be just this real straight ahead thing, you know.
You can hear that it's straight ahead. You can hear that crackling electricity. And I'm a really big believer in getting this sound from vintage gear. Some people, I don't know, but for me it works because I'm staring on it, you know.
And the room, I mean, it might have been the room, you know, you don't ever know what happens when you go into a situation like that. And like at one point, Tom and I were talking, because to be honest, Ray's studio is very rudimentary. And we didn't even have all the basic stuff that usually you have when you go in, because bless his heart, he'd had, well, the flood, and he had to clean up after the flood, and he had a lot of damage from that. Then there was an electrical storm that wiped out some of the equipment, some of the electronics. So we didn't have the mixing little things that you have, like when I'm in the vocal booth and I can, you know, adjust my own vocal and also be able to talk to the guys and we could hear each other. We didn't have those. They were missing because he lost them in this electrical storm and hadn't had a chance to replace them yet. So things like that, you know, so Ray put a microphone in the middle of the room so I could maybe talk to the guys, and, you know, it was pretty, you know, just kind of, and so at one point I was talking to Tom and I said, would we, if we took Ray and went to like the House of Blues studio in Nashville, do you think we'd get the same sound? You know, because it was just crossing my mind, and Tom looked at me and went, I don't know, I don't think so. You know, it was just like, let's just do this and blow through it, because we can't stop, we can't move, we can't change anything, because we have that, there's something going on. And so, you know, I guess it was a combination of things, you know,
all of it,
being in the right place at the right time. And the guys were warmed up from touring and they played their asses off, you know.
You can feel it. You can feel all of the pieces, all of the parts that you were talking about. They all came together. And like I said, it's electrifying. And again, I was nerding up on the fact that, oh, vintage gear, that sells it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't even
it's amazing, you know, the difference that makes, you know.
Yeah, it sure does. And again, it's a fantastic album. Good Souls, Better Angels. And it got my wheels clicking. And I know I'm kind of switching gears here, but it got me to thinking about the tour, which is not happening right now. Temporarily, I'm a true believer in that, you know what, we're going to pick up and we're going to get going again.
Yeah.
But a couple of the things that popped into my mind and that some people had reminded me about, just some talk about Armadillo World Headquarters. You know, they're celebrating.
Oh, God.
I know. They're celebrating.
My heart goes pitter patter, pitter patter. That was my.
Yeah, it's like 50-year anniversary. This always, you know, hearing about the memories, hearing about people who were lucky enough to experience the magic firsthand. I am so envious, because I will never ever get to be a part of that.
You were like 3 years old or something?
Something, yeah, you know, something like that. Maybe my parents would have dragged me out there, you never know. But I wanted to ask you about the memories that you've had. I know we could go on forever with all the stories, but
yeah, the old Austin.
Yeah, I mean, old Austin, but what was it like actually being there? What was it like playing there? And I sound like a kid asking this, but
I didn't ever play there. I wasn't on that
level
of things when I was there. Well, I moved to Austin in 1974.
Gotcha.
And like I was playing off of the drag. You know, they had this little sort of little flea market area set up where people sold jewelry and stuff. And I was like 21, you know, so that's where I was at, you know, in my, you know, at that stage of my career, or, you know, but I went there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went there to see shows, and it was like, you know, the artwork and everything. There was this, what was this? He was this local outsider artist, folk artist, who had painted, you know, done all these kind of mural things on the walls. And, you know, it was the perfect size. It's one of those kind of clubs similar to, I would compare it to like the Fillmore in San Francisco, you know, that perfect size. I don't know how many it held, but it was, you know, before the age of arenas, you know, when like not too small, not too big kind of thing.
Just right.
And so, yeah, so they were able to get, you know, artists like Leon Russell and, I mean, whoever was on that level of things who would come play in Austin, that's where they would play, you know, basically. Or that was just people's favorite place to go to see, hear music, because there was a warmth there. I mean, it had the intimacy, you know, of a small club, but it was big enough for name bands to play there, you know. And those are still the best kind of places to play. And there aren't that many of them left in the country anymore.
Yeah.
So, and the saddest day was when, it still makes me mad, when they tore down the Armadillo and to build something, I don't even remember what the hell it was, some fucking corporate building. And then they never built anything for the longest time. You drive by there and it was just an empty lot. And, you know, so that was, I mean, I don't want to talk about all the, you know, negatives of, you know, what started happening, but that was kind of the beginning of that, when they, whoever, you know, started tearing down these great, you know, historical places and closing these cool venues like Liberty Lunch. And I think that one followed, you know, and then it was just one after the other after the other. It's amazing the hole in the wall's still there. You know?
Yeah, I have to tell you, I'm very happy about that. But right now we're looking at a similar, if not worse, situation going on. Of course, not only here, but across the country. People really working hard to save the local venues. And like you said, to save the connection that you feel. That's why Armadillo was such a unique experience. You had it at this size, like I was saying, it's just right. But you had these huge artists coming in because it was a destination spot, you know?
Exactly.
Everyone wanted
Yeah, and there were only a handful of them. You know, First Avenue in Minneapolis is another great example, you know. So, and we need to keep those places alive, and the smaller place, anything, you know, that size and under, you know, I'm not concerned about the corporate rock arena places, you know. We're talking about independently owned venues, like the Basement East in Nashville is a great room that would fall into that category, you know. And they got wiped out during the tornado that blew through here.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it's the pandemic, but before that we had a tornado. So it's like this totally apocalyptic, like, you know, we've been tested to the nth degree. Everybody's been being tested right now.
Yeah.
You know, big time.
Yeah,
so
I have to say though, the music is keeping me going. It's keeping a lot of
me
going.
Too.
Big time.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, if there was ever a time to appreciate, you know, the internet stuff and all, I'm kind of a, what do you call it?
You know,
non-technical. But, you know, it's good that now I'm appreciating it more, the fact that we can do these things. Who would have thought, you know, 50 years ago, of course, I mean, you know.
For sure.
So that, you know, so it's good, you know, we have this outlet, you know, to be able to communicate, play music, let people see and hear and music and everything, you know.
Absolutely. And Lucinda, while I'm talking about the music, I think that you're going to be able to play a song for us.
Yeah.
Which one have you decided to do?
Well, I was thinking about it's appropriately titled Bad News Blues. off the album.
I love it. KUTX at home. I am having a blast, Lucinda, and thanks for doing this.
Me too. I'm in a better mood than I was in when I first got up today. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Bad news on my TV screen, bad news on the magazines, bad news on the newspaper, bad news on the elevator, bad news on the street, bad news in my car, bad news on my feet, bad news at the bar, all over my clothes, under my hat, on the radio, in a laundromat, hanging in the air, laying on the ground, walking up the stairs, bad news all around. No matter where I go, I can't get away from it. Don't you know I'm knee deep in it? Who's gonna believe liars and lunatics? Fools and thieves and clowns and hypocrites. Gluttony and greed, and that ain't the worst of it. All the news you can read, all the news that's fit to print. Bad news on my left, bad news on my right, bad news in the morning, bad news at night. In my refrigerator, bad news in my sink, on my typewriter, bad news in my drink, bad news on the walls, all over the floor, down the hall, knocking at the door. Bad news in the mail, follow me home. Bad news on my trail, bad news on my phone. No matter where I go, I can't seem to get away from it. Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know I'm knee deep in it? Who's gonna believe liars and lunatics? Fools and thieves and clowns and hypocrites. Gluttony and greed, that ain't the worst of it. All the news you can read, all the news that's fit to print. All the news you can read, all the news that's fit to print. I got the bad news blues. I got the bad news blues. People, I got the bad news blues.
Like I said, you preach it to the choir.
Yeah.
My special guest this afternoon is Lucinda Williams, and that is a track off the new album, Good Souls, Better Angels, Bad News Blues. I think I'm living that every day, Lucinda.
Yeah,
I love that one. I love that one. I'm gonna start rattling off all my favorites, like Bone of Contention.
Yeah.
If only you knew. I also like Shadows and Doubts,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful, beautiful song. And I have to admit, I had to stop playing it, get up, walk away a little bit, and then come back.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of that one. Yeah.
Yeah. It is just all the emotions on there. And I do have to say this, Lucinda, anyone that's like saying something like you sound angry, well, good.
Yeah.
I want to say good.
I know, you know, but I've gotten this ever since I started writing songs and everything. People have said, oh, your songs are so dark, you know, because I was writing about real life.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, you know, people just don't want to, it bothers some people, you know, I mean, from the time I wrote, you know, Sweet Old World, you know, Poniola, about a guy who shot himself who I knew. You know, I remember being on Fresh Air one time with Terry Gross, bless her heart, and it was right around the time of the Sweet Old World album, and I was going to play Sweet Old World and Poniola, and she said, are you sure you want to do both of those songs? You know, they're both kind of dark, and maybe one of them, but not both of them. I mean, this is the kind of thing I would have to deal with all the time on a regular basis, you know, so dark. I mean, why, you know, just, I mean, I don't know, you know, and now this is like the ultimate final, you know, like, I'm probably going to lose a few fans, you know, over Man Without a Soul, but and I thought about it, you know, I thought, you know what, and Waking Up is really intense. You want dark? I got dark, you know. That's a song about this guy I was with who physically abused me. I'm a victim of domestic abuse. Hello?
Yeah.
Am I not going to talk about this? You know, I'm 67 years old. I've seen a lot of things. I've been through things. It's live, people. I mean, you know, it's just this whole idea that, I don't know, I guess it's a pop music mentality thing, and I love a great pop song, you know, like Petula Clark, Downtown, where all the lights are. I love all that stuff, but that's not what this is supposed to be right now for this album. This was something that I needed to do for myself because I'm an artist first and foremost, so my songs come from me.
Yeah.
It's a form of self-expression. I seem to have to remind people of this, you know. I mean, I'm not writing for that. That's what I'm writing for first. Yeah. You know, it's coming from me, just like a painter would, a painting, you know, would you tell somebody, well, I guess they have said this to painters, that's so dark, you know, it's offensive. I mean, that's what art is about.
Yeah, you're damn right.
You know, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but actually, you know what? I always assumed I was preaching to the choir, but it turns out there are a few people in that choir who, you know, didn't agree with me, who I've gotten negative feedback from, believe it or not. Like people who, you know, well, that song Man Without a Soul has generated. And we posted, it was interesting, there was an article in the New York Times and it was titled, Where is the Soul of Donald Trump? And I was like, wow, has he heard my song, or is this just a coincidence or whatever? So we posted a link to the article and a link to the song Man Without a Soul. And I made the mistake of reading some of the comments, you know, that started coming in. And this one guy said, I didn't have compassion because I'd written that song.
Oh dear.
You know, like, he goes, she wrote that song Compassion, but this isn't compassionate. Shouldn't be writing a song like this. And it's, you know what? I write this stuff because I care. Yeah. I'm the most compassionate person you'll ever meet in your life. You know, that's why I'm doing this, because I care. I'm doing it to express feelings and express my frustration and anger. You know, we're all frustrated and angry. So, you know, that's what I'm blessed to have this outlet. Otherwise, I would probably go out of my fucking mind, you know? So, I mean, but it surprises me that somebody would say that. Obviously it pushed to my button. I shouldn't have read it, and I understand that. It's not a good idea to read my own, you know, press and Facebook comments and things. But anyway, so, but, people just, I don't know. They don't want to, they're walking around in a bubble or something.
It's a good rule of thumb. I don't make it a point to read comments, but instead what I'm here to remind everyone is this is the whole spread of human emotion. And you just said it yourself, you're expressing.
Yeah.
And the music, the songs can be about whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You can interpret, they're all up for interpretation. I never even said Man Without a Soul, which I've never said it was definitely about Trump. But people are, kind of picking up on something. They're going, oh, that song you wrote about Trump, I mean, look, it could be about Mitch McConnell. It could be about a number of people. I mean, it's just about a figure, quote unquote, powerful figure who is out of touch with people. That's what the main, that's what it, I mean, Tom and I actually worked on that song together, and Tom reminded me after all this went down, he said, well, he said, in my mind, I was thinking about that guy who you were in an abusive relationship with, that's what it was about. So it could be a personal song, it could be a political song, and most of these, pretty much all the songs on this album, I think, can be interpreted different ways.
Absolutely.
So
that's the beauty of it. That's the way I was taking it. And I tend to, like many people out there, I tend to personalize it. I tend to take the music and it reflects personal memories.
Yeah.
Personal experience.
See, I love that. That's what I want people to be able to do. So
again, Lucinda, it is a damn great album, and I want to say congratulations. I love it, and thank you so much for talking with me today.
This has been great. I feel like I've made a new friend.
Oh, Lucinda, I love hearing that, and I love talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. My guest this afternoon has been Lucinda Williams. This is KUTX 98.9, the Austin Music Experience, KUTX at home.